This week on Huskies All Access, I'm here for redemption. If you stick around, you'll find out why. Hello again and welcome to Huskies All Access. I'm Darren DuPont for another week alongside the Outsiders, Tom and Dallas. As the Huskies were in Regina this past weekend, looking to take on the Regina Rams and looking to improve to 3-1. And in this one, it was the Huskies coming away with a 21-16 victory. The Huskies managed just 42 yards on the ground. Both teams in this one racking up over 130 yards in penalties, as the Huskies again come away with a 21-16 victory in Regina. With the win, the Huskies improve to 3-1. The Rams fall to 1-3. As we welcome you back inside the studio again, joined by the Outsiders, Tom and Dallas. Tom, what do you make of this game? Again, this game is a lot closer than maybe we thought it would be, especially after the Huskies' opening drive.
Well, for starters, it wasn't the high-scoring affair that many people, myself included, thought it would be. The Huskies, they made so many mistakes on offense. We should feel very fortunate to come away with the win. We had 2 offside penalties negate huge gains, one of those being a touchdown. We had 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. There was a missed play call as well, so miscommunication there. On defense, we certainly made some plays, but they also allowed some easy yardage. I think particularly the first drive Regina had following our opening touchdown, they just marched it right down the field. And they had some pretty easy yardage on their last drive as well when they were trying to win the game with a touchdown.
Dallas, I mean, this game was one the Huskies needed to have. They had it. It wasn't really that pretty, though.
No, and, they should be happy with the win, but not too happy. I mean, they only had 42 yards rushing after putting up big numbers against the Dinos the week earlier. And, definitely the bad offside calls, that cost them a touchdown. And if they keep doing that going forward, it's not going to be favorable to them. So, it's a 3-1 record, but it's a pretty soft 3-1.
All right. Well, it was a win, so we get to dish out some game balls. So start at the end of the table. Tom?
Linebacker Jeff Hughes was outstanding. Again, he's a very good player. 6.5 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, and a pass breakup as well.
Dallas?
On offense, John Trumpy, I think we spotlight him every week, and deservedly so. He had 9 catches for 111 yards, and he's currently 5th in the CIS in yards receiving. So once again, he's been a clutch receiver for the Huskies.
All right, your game balls for this week. And a little bit later on in the show, since we are halfway through the season, we're going to dish out the report cards for the Huskies this season. You guys got any thoughts on the report cards or where you guys are leaning as far as grades before we get into that a little bit later on?
I think there's room for improvement.
Dallas?
Yeah, I can't add much to that. I think, definitely room for improvement going forward.
Oh, geez, this is like getting set for like parent-teacher interviews or something. You can't be too excited the way it's going so far. But no, we're going to get to that a little bit later on in the show with report cards, but we'll talk to BT when we return to Huskies All Access. Had a chance to catch up with him earlier this week. All right, we're up inside the Graham Clubhouse for our weekly coaches chat with Brian Towers. Brian, again, congratulations on another win.
Yeah, thank you.
And as always, it's tough against Regina. They always seem to play you well.
They do. Their kids played really, really hard, and give them credit. Young Picton's going to be a great quarterback. He sees things, he gets the ball out of his hands really quickly, and they do have good receivers. And give them full credit for the stuff that they did. We made a lot of plays, but we left a lot of plays on the field, and that's what kind of upsets us.
Yeah, and it came down to I guess we'll talk about that first. What didn't you like in that game?
Well, just all the self-inflicted wounds. It starts to feel pretty good when you quit hitting your head against the wall. And sometimes, like we had a touchdown call back because we were offside. Didn't have any effect on the play other than we jumped the count a little bit. We had another gain from the 20 down to would have been a first down on the 4 that we were offside. Just little things like that caused us grief, that stalled drives, that really prevented us from scoring probably 30, 35 points in that football game.
For sure. At the end of the game, I mean, it came down to the wire again, but you guys found a way to pull out a victory.
Yeah, we had a couple defenders make a great play. I mean, credit them. They drove the field. I thought that they had one fortunate play down the sidelines where two receivers almost collided, and their guy comes out with the ball and runs another 30 yards down to our 17 or whatever it was. But they had a guy open on a corner route. Absy got a pretty good jump on the ball, hit him just as he got it, pops up in the air, and a great hustle play by Keegan Arniak to fall off his receiver and come back and intercept the ball because it hits the ground. They still got two more cracks from the 17 probably, but again, great hustle by Keegan and not just taking a play off covering his guy, but really rallying to the ball when it was in the air.
Okay, UBC this weekend. What do you make of this team? I mean, an 0-3 start, but they come out with a real strong performance against a surging and a growing Alberta team.
Yeah, we're just starting to kind of formulate our game plan right now. I've watched in detail 2 of their 4 games. Calgary kind of jumped them and blew them out. When you get behind Calgary, that can happen. It changes your game plan. You try to throw more, and then just it snowballs. So you can discount that one. I thought they played Manitoba really tough last week. Losing 20-10 in Winnipeg is not a bad, doesn't mean you played bad football. They played hard, and then I think they were maybe at best and found themselves a little bit offensively this week against Alberta, and we got to study that in a little bit more detail.
All right. News coming out this week with Calgary forfeiting the game against Alberta. That makes things more interesting a little bit in the Canada West standings in the playoff picture. Just hearing some of the guys talking about scenarios that first place now is kind of in the sights, or now kind of more of a reality.
Yeah, well, really, from our perspective or my perspective, we got a lot of football to play before. What it does is immediately it helps Alberta. I mean, it's not like Calgary had all 4 games taken away from them and where they're looking at winning out and finishing 4th. They still can be 7-1, and they've already beaten us here in the only time that we play them. So Manitoba still has an opportunity, I guess, to run the table and get to there as well. But it's right now, the big benefactor of that is Alberta, because now they're 2-2, and they got Calgary one more time, they've got us one more time, and I think they got Regina once more for sure. Those are 3 of their 4. I don't even know who their other one, but they're back in the thick of it, and there is a real possibility that one team with 3 wins is going to make playoffs this year.
It's exciting.
It is. It brings it back together. I'm sure Regina eyes light up a little bit too, because now, at 1-3, they know that they got a couple games that could vault them ahead of Alberta and maybe back into the playoffs.
Yeah, a lot of good teams at the bottom half of the Canada West standings right now.
You bet.
All right, Coach. Best of luck this weekend.
No problem. Thanks.
And we'll talk to you again.
You bet.
We're halfway through the season as we look now at the Canada West standings, and the Huskies now even with the Calgary Dinos atop the standings, both at 3-1. Okay, so each week on the show, we've got guests that come in, players, coaches that take time out of their day to spend it with me, and I appreciate their time, I really do. But I committed a sin on last week's show. Minute with Dylan Kemp was an incredible segment. He was great. At the end of the segment, though, we went in for the bro shake, and I totally left him hanging. See for yourself. In the last 2 seconds, what else can you tell us about Dylan Kemp?
I'm really hungry and I need to get some food right now.
All right, we're going to let you go. All right, there's Dylan Kemp, Huskies Minute With, and we'll catch up with you later in the season.
Thank you very much.
John, what do you... Well, I know, it was
You
bad.
left him hanging.
You don't leave another bro hanging, I know.
Never.
Okay, but today, good news is I'm here to redeem myself, so what's the plan?
Okay, I think the plan is you grab a couple players, get them to give you some lessons, because this was just...
Did you watch the show last week?
I did, yeah.
So I had the Minute with Dylan Kemp, and apparently he's telling me, here's the graphic, that I left him hanging at the end of the show. So today I'm here at practice trying to learn a little bro shake etiquette and try and make up for my mistakes. So I'm hoping you can teach me something about the bro shake. Can you do that?
Sure, I'll try.
I totally left him hanging. Did you see that?
Oh, I see it.
At the end of the show, we went in for the bro shake, okay? and he went for the fist bump after the bro shake, and it was kind of an awkward encounter. So he's got it on Facebook, okay?
Yeah.
Really, really bad. So I'm here today to learn some bro shake etiquette, okay? Can you help me out?
I'll try, yeah.
What can you teach me about the bro shake?
Well, first of all, you never leave them hanging. That's rule number one.
So where do we go wrong on that bro shake?
You want to do one?
Well, yeah, show me.
All right, let's do one.
We kind of went in. You know, you go in for the handshake, or do you go straight to the bro shake? Do you go in with the body? Do you go in with all
Just go
hands?
with the normal handshake.
That's it?
And then you can always switch it up like that.
And
I don't know.
You
I think you go straight to it.
go straight to it.
Slide it off, and then you just got to finish it with the pound.
So do you go in for the regular handshake?
Going for the regular handshake. You come up,
We'll pivot.
you grab them. Sometimes you let go. Do a fist bump. That's bro handshake.
We kind of went in and we kind of did the awkward little
Yeah.
shoulder to the chest, and then he went for the
went
pound.
for the pound.
Because he went for the fist bump and I totally left him hanging.
Yeah.
Is there a sequence? Do you stay away from the chest bump?
No, you know, it's there. It depends who you're doing it with too. I mean, there's a combination of both, but it's more of a preference, whatever you want to do.
There's a couple of different techniques. That's my technique. It's patented.
Your preference is in and just quick snap, hey?
Yeah.
So right in, snap, and that's it.
Yeah.
So this,
Do this again.
this,
Little shoulder.
slide out.
Simple. Simplicity.
Simple and quick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. You got to make it snap.
So little snap.
Little snap.
So I think the mic was right there. I think you might have been able to hear that. What's the most awkward encounter you've had with another man? You know, when you go in for the bro shake. Have you had any awkward? What's the most awkward thing?
Probably just like the weird handshake. You don't know, like a lot of it with like sibling, or
you
not
lean to
siblings,
the
like
left?
family. You go in for the hug / like the handshake. You don't really know what to do.
Oh, I'm sure it happened a few times at a rider camp. There's a few guys who you don't know what they're going to go in for.
So try to shake my hand. Switch. No, switch. That,
So you get
that's
that
it.
little awkward. That's
It's a little switcheroo.
so I got to apologize first because it's starting to trend across Saskatoon that I left you hanging during our segment last week. You know, I apologize really from deep down. I don't know what kind of harassment you've been taking in the locker room. How tough has it been for you?
It's been terrible. I had to talk to a sports psychologist about it actually, so it's been pretty hard on me, and hopefully I can play this Saturday. So.
Well, I'm here to redeem myself and to make amends. I've been taking some bro shake lessons, learning a little etiquette, and if you'll allow me the honor, I'd love to make amends.
Absolutely.
That was perfect.
Time now for today's Husky player profile, and today it's starting quarterback Drew Burko. Talk about your transition from high school football to the Huskies. What was that like?
It was a pretty big step. I mean, Saskatoon high school football is pretty competitive, but it's nothing compared to the CIS level. It was nice that I had that redshirt year though, just to kind of get used to the CIS level. Just kind of coming in, watching, just getting used to the speed and everything. But and then now it's I mean, I've been in the team for a few years now, so it's hard to remember high school now. It's just now it's just on the CIS.
Kind of in the middle of your CIS career right now. What kind of things, have you learned through your first few years with the program, and what do you have left here still to learn?
I learned a lot of things. Just timing, how important that is, footwork, and just kind of the speed of the game again. It's a lot faster. So you got to get the ball out faster. You got to make your decisions faster, and the stuff I can still learn is just being more consistent, reading the coverages better, just being even faster at everything I do.
How does that change having your dad in the locker room and on the field?
It doesn't change too much because he's kind of coached me growing up. He coached me in almost my whole high school career too. So I've gotten used to it by now. But I mean, it's a little different. I can go and talk to him. I can kind of figure out some stuff from him. Like I can go home and talk to him about stuff. So it's a lot different than everybody else. But I'm used to it by now.
For sure. this year you've got a new quarterbacks coach in Lawrence.
Yep.
What's that been like?
It's been great. I mean, Lawrence, he's just, from if you saw him play here before, he's just a high energy guy. He kind of brings that to his coaching. He's high energy, running around, having fun, and he's very knowledgeable. I know with Brent Schneider, he was great too, but he was doing the whole offense. So now with just Larry helping us, he's always there to coach you up. If you just have a quick question, it's easy to find him and stuff like that.
You know, you seem like a calm and poised player on the field, but sometimes around practice, jumping out, you can be kind of goofy, bouncing around. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, sometimes just depends on what mood I'm in, what's going on in practice. Yeah, but when it comes to a game, I try to be more level-headed. Just I don't want to get too down or too up, just so I can kind of go out and play how I need to play.
So as a person, if I ask your teammates, what are they going to say about you?
I'm not too sure. I mean, you might get a few mixed. Some guys kind of quiet. I don't know. I like to joke around with some guys and stuff like that. So you might get a few mixed opinions.
What do you like to do away from the field? What's your kind of, your life like outside of football?
It's not too exciting. I mean, I like watching movies and stuff like that. Just kind of hanging out. I mean, a lot of it revolves around football and school, but just kind of hanging out with some friends, just doing. Yeah, it's not too exciting.
It's on your iPod.
A lot of different stuff. I kind of like most music, country, rock, everything.
Cool. Had a chance to attend Rider Camp in the spring here. What was that like? What was that experience like?
It was awesome. It was like I learned a lot from that, and it was a lot of fun too. It was long days. It was pretty intense, but I just got to kind of sit back and watch those guys play and practice, and yeah, it was just a great learning experience.
Do you have a favorite target, a favorite receiver on the team?
Not really. I mean, Kid Hillis is the guy I've been playing with the longest, so he's always a good guy to throw the ball to. But I mean, we have great receivers on our team, so just if you can, I don't really prefer one. I mean, if they're open, I'm going to throw them the ball.
That's the right answer, and we'll leave you with that. All right.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Drew.
Yep.
This week's CIS Top 10 in Laval and Calgary remain at the top at 1 and 2. The Huskies holding firm at number 7. Back inside the studio here now, Darren DuPont with you alongside the Outsiders, Tom and Dallas. And before we get into our report cards and our keys to victory for this upcoming week's matchup against UBC, some news out of Canada West that the Calgary Dinos are forfeiting their September 5th victory over Alberta. It's due to ineligible player. Very confusing, but there was an ineligible player, and the team caught this very quickly, reported it to the CIS, and as a result, they'll forfeit that 71-3 victory over Alberta. It now becomes a 1-0 Alberta victory. So Alberta, 2-2. Calgary, 3-1.
Well, thankfully they caught it early. This has happened far too much in Canada West and CIS. It's happened previously very close to the playoffs, and that can really mess things up. And it has an effect on the standings this year too. Had Manitoba made their last second field goal on Friday, the Huskies would be sitting at 4-0. Would be at 3-1, but would be in first place in Canada West. Now you've got Alberta sitting on a 2-2 record, so all of a sudden they're sitting in the final playoff spot, and so I'm not sure how happy UBC and Regina would be with this ruling.
All right, well, we're halfway through the season. The Huskies are 3-1, and this is our opportunity to assign the report cards as the Huskies move through the season, and our thoughts and your thoughts on the first half of the season. So we'll start on offense. This team has scored 32.8 points per game and put up 443 yards of offense per game, but they're not where they need to be, are they, Tom?
No, I'll give them a C-. They've been wildly inconsistent, I would say. Ground game, Dallas alluded to it earlier, 42 yards on the ground against Regina. How many teams can you beat gaining only 42 yards? Fortunately, Regina apparently is one of those teams, but there aren't many out there. We go long stretches of in the second half, particularly of games where we just can't seem to move the ball. So there's lots of room for improvement. The bright spot is the receivers have been absolutely outstanding. So there are a lot of good signs there too so far this year.
And a lot of turnover with that receiver group, and so good things from them so far. Dallas, your thoughts on and your assessment of the offense through half of the season?
Yeah, I would agree with that. C- would probably be a good grade there. They haven't, they've been inconsistent. I think they would definitely agree with that. I mean, you look at the second half of the last two games, they've scored a total of 13 points. So, I mean, that needs to change. They need to, finish drives and execute and do a lot of things well going forward here.
All right. On defense, the team has allowed 29.8 points per game and 498.2 yards against per game. So you're great on the defense, Tom.
I'll say C+, because they have made some good plays at key moments. We've seen that in the 2 narrow wins, some pass breakups. They had an outstanding second half against Manitoba and a solid game against Calgary. But again, has the consistency been there? In my opinion, no.
Dallas?
Well, I think it really depends on which, if you're talking about the secondary or the front seven. I think the front seven would definitely be graded a little higher than the secondary at this point. But the secondary has been, a revolving door at the corners once again. And so overall, I think I would give them a B. They've been a little bit porous, but at times, but they buckled down when they needed to. So definitely, I would grade them higher than the offense, and I think they've contributed a little bit more so far.
All right. So your grades on offense and defense, but now we move to special teams. Tom?
I think B+. Denton's had a very good start to the year. We've been pretty good in the return game. We did have one fumble in the Calgary game and some poor punt returning in the Calgary game, but we've seen a lot of good returns. Coverage units have been pretty good. I thought the coverage units were outstanding in Regina, but we weren't as good in Alberta. But all in all, pretty good. I'll go B+.
Dallas?
Yeah, I'll give an A-. I think that Denton, other than missing that short kick there in Regina, he's been excellent. His punting has been outstanding. He's the leading punter in the Canada West so far. And as far as the return game goes, the only thing that they really need to work on there is eliminating bad penalties. They took a few bad illegal blocks and holding penalties in Regina that cost them there. So I think that overall they're doing quite well in the special teams department.
All right. Well, some tough grades here for a team that's near the top of the class. So some thoughts just overall in the second half of the season. Obviously, for this team, there's lots of room to improve.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we're a good team, but I think we're a good team that can play even better than we have been. And, when I'm giving these grades, I try to ask myself, what would they give themselves? And maybe they would grade themselves a little higher, I don't know, but I think I think the grades that Dallas and I have given, I think, are pretty close to what they would give themselves.
You agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that their potential is outstanding. They've shown that they can play with the Calgarys of the world, and that they can dominate a team as good as Manitoba. So definitely going forward here, they're going to have to be very sharp as the weather turns and gets a little colder. They're going to have to be a more balanced offense, and they're going to have to really prepare well. And that's one of the things that Coach Towers mentioned that they didn't do for the last game. So going forward, they're going to they'll have a pretty good schedule, but they're going to have to be prepared to play 60 minutes in all these games.
All right. Well, this weekend it is the blackout game on Saturday night. The Huskies taking on UBC. And what do we make of UBC? I mean, UBC is a team that was 0-3, but put up a really good effort against a team from Alberta that's been on the rise. As we start to look at our keys to victory here, and we'll start with you, Dallas. Keys to victory for the Huskies on offense.
Well, and I mentioned this before, execute. They've been their own worst enemies lately. And, they have open receivers, they have open lanes, but they'll take an unfortunate penalty here or there, or they'll miss a handoff or something like that. So they have to be much sharper, make those simple plays that should be things that should be simple plays at this level. They have to get that running game going again. They've showed that they can run against one of the top defenses, but then they don't do so well against one of the lower ranked defenses. So they have to really get that going and get that offense a little bit more balanced out. And then really have to start rolling in the second half of games. 13 points over 2 games isn't going to do it. So start making better adjustments, I guess, during halftime.
Your keys to victory on offense. Now we'll shift our focus, Tom, to defense and special teams.
We got to slow the running game down. UBC has a couple of very talented backs, so our front seven is going to need to play well to limit them. And we've talked about this next one quite a bit. Get off the field on second and long. Our pass defense, that's where they're vulnerable, it seems. And so it sounds like a broken record, but because it continues to be a problem. On special teams, we had 4 penalties on special teams last week, and that's just simply not acceptable. We can't have that this week.
All right, your keys to victory here. today as the Huskies getting set to take on UBC this weekend. That game Saturday night in the blackout game. Time now for our game predictions and our picks. And we'll start with the game on Saturday when Regina is going to visit Calgary. Regina at 1-3, Calgary at 3-1. What do you like here, Tom?
Calgary's looked a little vulnerable these last 2 weeks. I do think that changes this week, and I think they're going to get after Regina, and I'll say Dinos by 24.
Yeah, I think this game will be a little closer than most people expect, but I still think the Dinos are going to win by 20.
Yeah, I think the Dinos have this one too. I'll pick the Dinos by 17 in this one. The other game on Saturday, I mean, all three games are on Saturday, but Manitoba at 2-2 after a very good effort against Calgary. They're going to visit Alberta, also 2-2 after the reverse decision on the September 5th game.
Similar to the Huskies, the Bears seem to be a much better team at home than on the road, and for that reason I think they're going to play Manitoba pretty strong. But Manitoba really impressed me with their effort on Friday night against Calgary, and I'll take them by 10.
Manitoba by 10, Dallas?
I think Alberta showed last week they still have a little bit of work to do, definitely. And Manitoba's going on the road for a second week, however. So I'm going with the upset. I'm going to pick Alberta by 3.
All right, and I'll take Manitoba in this one, looking to improve to 3-2, and I'll take Manitoba by a converted touchdown, 7 points. And then it's the Huskies and UBC in the blackout game. And UBC coming off a very good effort against Alberta, and you guys weren't too impressed with the Huskies in Regina. So what do you take on this one?
Well, I think it's going to be a close game. As you said, they're coming in off a victory. I think they're going to give them a confidence boost. The Huskies do have a nice clear path to second place in a home playoff game if they can win this game. And so I think the Dogs will play a little bit better. I think there's going to be lots of incentive to play better. I think they're going to be worked hard in practice, and I'll take the Huskies by 6.
Huskies by 6, Dallas?
Well, I'm going to take the Huskies by 11. I think that they have the potential to slow down the strong ground game from the Thunderbirds, and that they will be executing at a much higher level on offense this week.
Yeah, I'll take the Huskies as well in this one, and I'm going to take the Huskies by 14. I think, just simply with the blackout game, the way last week went, and you mentioned that probably work them in practice this week. I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis to really put your best product on the field this week. So I'll take the Huskies by 14. And that will complete our game predictions for this coming weekend. Guys, final thoughts on the blackout game?
It's always a fun night. Husky fans, let's get out there. Let's fill the stands.
Dallas?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. I'll see you out there.
All right, that game is a Saturday night, 7 o'clock, and it's on the network with Jim Mullen and Jesse Lumsden having the call across the Shaw Network, the Crown CIS football on Shaw. And next week, the bye week. So we will still have the program, Huskies All Access. We'll have a special edition of Huskies All Access for you. So on behalf of the Outsiders, Tom and Dallas, I'm Darren DuPont. Be sure to check out Huskies All Access on your social media platforms, and we'll see you again next week.